All right, guys, it's time for the Next Level Guy Show, a men's interview, interest, and improvement-focused podcast featuring interviews with the greats from all industries to help you better your life. Each week, a new episode features an interview with one of the greats, covering all aspects of their story, from life hacks to tips and protocols that have allowed them to live life on the next level. We then highlight concrete action steps that you can use to improve your life. And now, your host, Ian Dawson McKay.
The story ends the same for all of us. So let it rip while you're here. You're not obligated to exist, but you're here. So why not give it hell? That's a quote from the interview with today's guest, Matt Vincent. It's time to stop living on autopilot and start chasing a life that's worth dying for. Are you still waiting to live your real life, the life that you actually want to live? Are you hoping that you'll have time to return, to fulfill all your dreams when you have dwindling time, energy and hope in your winter years, in that short few years that you have left from retirement to death? No chance. Most men, they stay stuck in comfort until it's too late. In this raw and powerful episode, Matt shares how to stop drifting and actually start living like it truly matters. Meet today's guest, Matt Vincent. He's a 2 times Highland Games world champion, an entrepreneur, and the unapologetic force behind the not dead yet mindset. He's on a mission to shake you out of mediocrity and into a life that's worth dying for, starting right now. After he lost his athletic identity to injury and burnout, he rebuilt himself, mentally, physically, and spiritually. He chased a life of meaning, discomfort, and daily progress, and wants to show you how to do it too. Today, he inspires thousands through his brand, podcast, and raw message. You're not dead yet, so live like it. But what if the real reason you're stuck isn't fear of failure, but it's a fear of truly living? In this episode, Matt challenges everything you think you know about comfort, purpose, and why playing it safe might be the riskiest move of all. Are you really ready to find out what you're truly capable of before it's too late? Well, this is the episode for you. Let's get to the interview. Thank you so much for coming on. It's an honour because I've followed you on social media for so long. Now, I've written a wee intro for you, which says, most people are just existing, waiting for some day to chase their dream, push their limits, or truly live. But Matt Vincent, he's on a mission to prove that some day is a lie. Through his not dead yet mindset, he's inspiring people to break free from mediocrity, embrace discomfort, and live a life worth dying for. And today we're diving into that philosophy, how to rewrite your story, level up, and stop waiting to live. Matt, welcome to the show. Would you agree with that? Would you say that's how it defines you? Or how would you explain it?
That's, if I had to put together a marketing pitch for who I am as a person, that's really what it would sound like.
Well, feel free. You can have that. Because I was trying to, because I love your message. It really kind of opens up and gets the root cause of us that we always assume there's going to be a tomorrow, but we're not guaranteed the next hour because of the way life is. What was your defining moment to change? You know, what was it about your life at that time that you needed it?
You know, it wasn't all this one big moment. It was kind of a cascade of a number of things. I had gotten myself into the Scottish Highland Games and was competing, and finding some success in that, and was really enjoying it. I had found this hobby that I really loved. I had been exploring strength sports and trying to find something after athletics in college ended. And so
Hmm.
as I got into that sport and I fell in love with it, I'd kind of fallen into creating content around it. And about that time that I'd gotten good at it, I'm making some content, but I'm still very much operating with a normal everyday life. Like I still have a regular job outside sales in the oil and gas industry, and would say I had not fully committed to entrepreneurship or whatever this thing was. And I really did feel this fear of like, fuck, I can't leave this steady, ideal thing. And I didn't love it, but it wasn't bad. But I damn sure didn't love it. And I didn't have a passion to get better for it. It rewarded me well, and it gave me enough time to pursue things I was in love with.
And do you
And
see
then,
that? Do you see
go ahead.
that's why a lot of guys struggle? It's that they haven't got to that pain point yet.
Yeah, I think that there's a really hard point of where things are good enough. And good enough, you can create a narrative that the risk of leaving it will be worse. Whereas if things were actually worse, you'd make a different choice. You'd actually do something. I mean, that's why people call it rock bottom, right? The real problem is most people will never do something that hits it. And so they'll just wallow around in okay and slow decay instead of taking action, instead of deciding that the only way I'll do something is if my feet are held to the fire. Like that's good enough to get to the middle. But if you want to pursue greatness in any area of your life and see what you're truly capable of, which is what I'm interested in exploring about me, is what am I fucking capable of if I get out of the way and I don't write the narrative before I have the experience and actually give it the effort. And so going into that, I think there's really importance in having a pursuit that like, if I have to be set on fire to take action, then things always have to be bad.
Hmm.
Like I got to be able to leave good enough and pursue great. It's about finding that next level. It's about finding that area where you are fully authentic and you are operating all your habits in accordance with what you want to become.
I love that. But is it that men struggle because the comfort zone's there? It's safer to hide in the shadows. Is that just something that we tell people to, it's just a cliche now? Or do we not know how to change or how to just be happier, healthier? We don't know the path to follow.
I'm not sure there's a right or wrong answer to any of that. I think the only thing that matters is whatever you decide gets you to take the actions you want instead of beating yourself up for not doing shit or not liking the way I look or not liking the way I feel or being upset about my physical health or feeling limited in what I can do and can pursue. But I mean, the idea with discomfort, I look at kind of historically what life has looked like, let's say over the last like couple 100,000 years.
No.
We likely spent a pretty good portion of our time outside in relatively physically laborious jobs, getting ourselves surviving, right? Like we have to hunt food, we got to either grow crops, and that's a long way down the road. But for the most part, we're dealing with some levels of discomfort on a regular basis. We're exposed to the sun, all these type of things. The cool part about being alive now is I don't have to do that to stay alive. But perhaps there was something to our overall health that came from being outside, being in the sun, moving around on a more frequent basis, actually burning calories, bending over, doing things, than just trying to remove any type of inconvenience of discomfort toward more comfort, which equals couch beanbag.
So do you think that's a bad thing now that we no longer have that rite of passage that a lot of guys would have? You go to Africa, you look at the tribes where they're circumcised. You go to look at Sparta, where they would go out and like try to kill a slave, and all these kind of these rights that we pass down now, where now we can get a taxi to the door, we can get food, we can even order a date online. You know, how do we find that mission again?
I think the beauty of it is we get to choose it. Like, that's where it falls in line for me, is not so much that, like, there isn't a right one. The beauty of being where we are kind of in the passage of time and where society can be is you can fucking choose it. Like, for the first time ever. But what seems to be really as important is that you choose something. That you give a shit about something. That you decide purpose. That you decide to pursue it. Instead of getting caught up in what we believe we were supposed to do or having this right or wrong idea of rites of passage, right? And so these rites of passage, and I think you're kind of saying rites of passage, but meaning convenience.
Well, sort of the change between boyhood to manhood, the thing that would define you embracing.
Yeah, we just don't have one in Western culture at all. I mean, I guess probably the closest thing we have is you graduate college and then like you're a man.
Oh, probably.
I mean, you've basically run through this Henry Ford assembly line system of putting you into a cubicle and getting you comfortable in that situation with dealing with strangers and talking to people, showing up on time, doing a thing that you don't particularly like to do for 8-10 years, not work on critical thinking or problem solving. Like, yeah, I mean, once you leave that is the path ahead, is follow where those skills have got you. And that is not aligned with pursuing your best.
Well, if you'd asked me, say, 20 years ago, I would have had hopes and dreams. I would have been setting up this. I'd have been doing this. I'd have gone here. I'd have gone there. And now I'm finding myself hating existence at times, where I'll self-sabotage the second I come close to success. So, be doing amazing at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, I got a wee knock, but a training partner leaves. Okay, that's an excuse to stop. Or I start screwing up at a job because it's easier than being seen as the go-to guy, or these kind of simple things. When you weigh up your sorry,
why do you think you choose to do that?
That I don't know, and it's almost like it's easier to fall back than do this soul crushing, the gut wrenching work, which really actually lets you tackle into yourself, and that comes across in your work. But how do we get to that pain point, but with enough self-love that we don't just go, what's the point? I'm not worth it.
I think that's also a choice too, though, right? Like at some point, like for me, you're not fucking obligated to exist, but you're here. And if you're going to fucking be here, why not give it hell? What's the risk? Like the story ends the same way for all of us either way. Yeah. We're all going to be fucking dead and no one's ever going to remember it. So fucking let it rip. But if you're going to do stuff and you're going to have to give energy to shit and you're going to have to solve problems, because there don't seem to be any paths that you just get to fucking chill. There also never has been. Even for those who come with it, like pre-fucking installed, these mega rich or anyone that we want to believe like, oh, they got it. They don't have any fucking backbone. They don't have any fucking spine. They don't have any self-worth because they didn't build it for them. We still see trouble all the way along the path for anybody. Trouble is part of the fucking deal. It's part of existing. But if you don't decide what trouble you want to deal with and how to bulletproof yourself to it, then the trouble that finds you will always be more than you can handle. But bullshit's coming. So like, be fucking resilient. Build confidence in yourself by accomplishing long-term things. Recognize that like, oh, I get about 6 weeks in and then quit shit. Then the 6-week point is where the fucking start begins. Like we just have to recognize our own patterns and decide to take different actions. We don't have to have feelings about it. I want to be able to feel, but I don't want to be reactionary to my feelings.
So what would you do at that point? Say you get a guy just now, and whenever he comes close to asking out the girl he wants, getting the job, whatever it is, and he just vumps straight down, how do we stop caring about outside opinions, the car, the couch, the whatever it is, the trinkets we sell to show off to other people we don't really like? How do we
Well,
actually look at what makes us a man and what we do give to other people and make the world a better place? How do we shift external to internal?
let's just start with awareness, because if we don't have awareness around things, we can't change it. And if we believe, so why do we believe those things you're trying to achieve are important?
At the time, it's because what society tells us is valuable. That if you don't have
Do
the right
you
car,
like
you're not
what
good enough.
do you agree with what most of society thinks?
Nope. But I find
So
myself falling back against people's opinions. So I'll be jealous. I'll be comparison on social media. But I use
sure.
it for the podcast. So I have this version of myself that's outgoing and doing all these amazing things. And then there's a little boy version of me that says, oh, Matt's done this. And, Tim Ferriss has done that. And I'm like,
Yeah, sure.
it's amazing how we switch between the two personas.
Yeah, I do it all the time. It's a constant battle. But what I've realized is anyone who has solved the problems that I'm trying to solve to accomplish what I want to do has answered that call, because everyone feels it. Fucking everyone. Everyone does it. But if you can figure out how to, instead of use it as comparison, but instead of proof of concept, and use it only for inspiration, it's your perspective. Look, both are true. Both sides of that coin are fucking true. They are doing better than you, and you can get caught in that. And you can get caught in the why, and then you can go in there like, well, if I did this, or if I was an attractive chick, or fucking if my mom had balls, she'd be my dad. Whatever the made up narrative you want to create for what the excuse is, right? Like, you can do that. And it is true. But it's also true to say, why don't I just take notes of what they did that worked? Why don't I look across the board at the 5 things that I do that I am inspired by? What did they do that worked? Oh, they never fucking stopped. They did it when no one was asking them for it. And that's part of the rite of passage for any of this shit. Yeah. Is the doing it because you love it. It's not doing it for them first. If you're doing it for validation, it's never going to hold up, because then it's also not authentic. And so the comparison piece is just such a waste of energy. Not only is it a thief of joy, it's a fucking thief of pain, because now we have such proof of up and down that you'll steal your own bullshit and say, well, I don't have any real problems. I'm better than this. I should be happy. And you'll do the same as I'm not happy because look at this life. And so you'll just fucking wallow in this middle that you have decided is the trap. When the truth is your life's fucking great.
I love that way of looking at it, because it's just now how many guys are sitting there going, but Joe's got this, Tim's got that, and you're like, and
so what?
Why is that not an inspiration? I mean, when I was just thinking just now when you were talking about the people who never give up, is I'm still doing this podcast, 200 odd episodes in. Why am I not doing that in other aspects of my life? And I think it might be an aha moment for a lot of people listening who are going, well, I do that. Why am I not giving that energy to that? And then just remove the emotion, like you're saying, to stop trying to show off and just do it because you enjoy it.
So getting into the Highland Games, weird sport and all. Doing something like that long term, like this, almost PhD level exploration into one very fucking small niche aspect that shouldn't necessarily carry over to anything else. I mean, throwing fucking rocks in a field. It's not like you would say that's going to be great for a salesman.
As Scots are weird.
An entrepreneur, right? Yeah, for sure. Now, instead of that, I looked and I deciphered a few things from that path that I know going down that path, whatever I did got the best out of me for that. I focused on recovery. I managed my nutrition. I ate with intention so that I could accomplish a goal. I had everything focused on this thing The beauty of it is that I was obsessed with it, and so focus stayed easy. And so now at this point in my life, I look at like, okay, so it takes 10 years to get good at anything. And if I want to get good at something, I've got to be able to read the data just like I would have from training without an emotional response. I didn't feel emotional about whether or not in my throw I needed to get further over my right side so that I could generate more power. I just fucking fixed it because the outcome is what I'm attached to, not the method. Right? So like I'm not caught up in those finite details of bullshit. Like I don't need to be right. I want the outcome. And so I'm happily going to listen and correct course the whole way through.
And is that where your fuck mediocrity comes from? That philosophy of just
a bit.
deep dive, balls to the wall into it.
Yeah. I mean, like I have no fucking idea what comes after this life, man. I got no proof of anything. I've got some fun ideas, but that's about the best as it gets. For all I know, this is my only shot of getting to play around having a physical body and a consciousness. What a fucking ride. I'm aware that I am in full control of the environment I want to be in, the people I want to be around, the things I choose to consume, and how I choose to treat myself and my body. And I can ask it to do what I would like. I don't feel held back because I'm gonna fucking die. I'm just interested in exploring to see what I'm capable of, not in comparison to anyone else. What can I fucking do? It won't be remembered anyway. Whether, like, I'm going to fall somewhere between homeless and Bill Gates.
It's a good place
to be. And it ain't going to make the fucking news. Do you know what I mean? Like, it ain't going to matter. In 40 years, I'm dead. And 20 years after that, no one gives a shit. You don't know any of the daily plight of your great-grandfather. You may barely know a thing or two about him. And so, like, fuck, man, play accordingly.
I mean, I remember when my grandparents were dying, I lost 3 grandparents in the same year. And up to that point, I'd always played it safe. I'd always been hiding in the shadows. And I remember seeing that eternal love, that kind of devastation, the impact they had made on the family. And I remember just watching them waste away. And it kind of gave me this jolt to go away, take on life. And I did so much. And then I kind of stalled back to this point. Is that then we need to then find the next mission, the next kind of thing that we need to give back at that point? How do we remember memento mori and actually find a challenge bigger than us to push us on?
Like, I think the beauty of it is we all get to choose it, and that's the fun part. You get to choose it. There's an infinite number of routes to go try to explore. Which one seems the most fun? Which one seems worth dying for? But remembering that we're gonna die. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, I stay focused on it. I have a jar of marbles I keep around that I use as a reflectionary piece. You know, that when my dad died 11 years ago, that was the kind of first real shot of awakening. And death, like you said, brings it up. There becomes this very, very clear moment when you realize you're on the clock. Now, the clock's a long way away, but you're on the clock. And at that moment, for me, I realized how finite everything was. You know, the number of hugs I have left, what a lie that saying that we get to be together forever is. It's bullshit. There's a finite number of all of it. And for me, that sparked a fire to get as much as I goddamn can out of this ride. And that's continued to just spread to different areas. When my dad died, that's where the full gas went into me competing. I won a world championship later that year. I started my apparel brand. And then by 2017, I got fired from my regular job. Didn't pursue another one. And then at that point, my knee went out. I'm no longer competing. I'm in chronic pain. I can't go up and down stairs. Like, it's all fucking gone. Like, everything that I had poured the gas on to get to It was done.
Because you've said like a few years back that you were hating life, you were depressed, you're feeling like your best years had come past you, and now you're living like a legendary transformation. And I loved you said a quote was that life and death are bookends. It's what you do in the middle that makes it special. How did you overcome that initial fear, or was it literally you just kept pushing and pushing, that when the job it failed you thought, perfect, that gives me more time to focus on this, I can now go deep dive into my sport, I can now, okay, that's given me some avenues to then look at some transformational stuff to come back from an injury, okay, I can then help people with their own self-development because of the insights you've learned? Did you just literally go from mound to mound, so to speak?
I mean, with mountains, there's valleys. Like, there's no way to stay up top. And so, nah, man, it's the hell of a fucking road. I had no plans of getting to where I currently am right now. This wasn't like I didn't have the sight set on I'm doing this and moving that way. I just at some point, whenever things had gotten really bad, got honest enough with myself to say that if I don't get this fixed, I'll fucking kill myself. And I don't know if that means 10 years, but I know I wasn't going to fucking ride it out. That I wasn't just going to do normal things, and I wasn't just going to, I couldn't fucking walk. Like, I'm traveling with a cane. And so I know that's not the worst thing in the world for everyone. And I get how overdramatic it is. And I can steal my own pain and suffering away using comparison and these other type of things. But the fact was, this was at least a bottom line that I hit. This was that rock bottom point that I said, I am not fucking interested in feeling like this anymore. So let's start solving problems the way we know how to solve problems. What am I actually in control of right now? I can take care of anything that is possibly causing more pain in my body. So get rid of inflammation, change my diet, let's lose weight. Let's see what we can do different medication wise. Let's just start trying shit the same way we would have to get great at the Highland Games. Let's go find new coaches. Let's go try bands. Let's go learn these new things. Let's just start exploring because clearly we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
So when you were doing that, how did you deal with that change of your mindset? Because you went from a sports star, a champion winning coach, to the injuries, to starting your apparel brand. How did you accept that change in your your mentality, that kind of the new mindset you're taking on? Because you seem to just be able to absorb and be very fluid with what you do. How do you approach these things?
At this point, like, I know I have the ability to get something big done. And so the overlap of that is for me to be able to care about it for over a decade. So, like, I need to know that it feels that full fuck yes. And whenever I was done competing, so 2014 was my second world championship, and I threw for another 2 years. Later that year in 2014, I started the apparel company. And I knew I wanted to try to create for a living and figure out how to monetize the following I had built. And since I had been writing books and I'd been asked by my audience for some stuff explaining the hate, the idea that formed the first brand, I started figuring out how to make apparel and sell it. And then I figured out where I could get it warehoused and how to get it shipped and how to make a business and figure all that out on the fly while I'm trying to vlog every day. And then I got hurt. And so the apparel company's working. So I took all bit of energy that I had that could have gone to training or anything else and just poured it there. And luckily it worked.
I like that. I suppose it's like, because when I'm interviewing people, I always think there's a secret trick or a mindset hack or something, but you're literally kind of just pushing your energy forward and just continuously trying new things. Is that the...
Well, like, I don't have a fear of fucking up. I've fucked up a lot. I've had businesses that failed and took on, 40 and 50 grand worth of debt. I've had relationships and a failed marriage, and I fucked up all kinds of things. But at
Because
least I can tell the universe doesn't really give a shit.
I remember you said on your Instagram, I think it was, that it's not about daily affirmations, it's about daily actions. And that's what it really hit home was you can think through 50 ways of doing something, but if you're not actually stepping on the mat, you're not stepping outside, you're not starting the brand, it's just pointless. How do we take that philosophy with the daily actions? How do we take the not dead yet mentality, add in radical accountability, and start changing and start pushing and start just living again?
I think one is setting the intention of why we're pursuing it. So I think before you start taking action, I think it's important to know what your intention is. Why are you interested in pursuing this? What is it? Is it to be best in the world? Or is it to improve your health? Like, be honest with yourself so we know what the fucking goal is of why we're going. Because if it's to be goddamn Chuck Norris, then maybe we're not going toward the right thing. That can be a fucking stupid reason. But where's the benefit? What's the skill acquisition? Know the intention of why we're pursuing the thing we're pursuing. And then instead of getting overwhelmed with how long it takes, just worry about the next thing that has to be done. Like, anxiety and all that shit is built around some attachment to some future outcome. The only thing you can do about that, instead of any worry or create narrative, is give right now your best. That's the best thing you could do to improve that, right? Would be if I gave 100% every single day to try to get it. Well, maybe you don't have 100%. But if you got 30, give 30. And trust that the long-term thing makes it happen. I don't have any evidence that there's way to macro dose like health or success or happiness. But you have to microdose it a little bit every day. You have to be in the fight. You have to be pushing forward so that because the stuff you really want is confidence. The stuff you really want is your health. And those take work every fucking day to choose to have. We have shown that in our current situation with the options available, we will not choose in our best favor.
Daily,
I personally won't get fucking beaten by convenience and abundance.
I love the way you look at life. And is that similar to your floor to ceiling kind of a philosophy? That once we know,
ceiling is basically, like once we set an action plan, it would be, and the ceiling's really not important because, man, on the days you feel it and the days you want to do it and the days you feel motivated, you don't need my fucking help. Like, no one has struggles on those days.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to say back off. What I care about is that we're doing something every day. We'll pretend that like doing the 100 push-ups a day isn't enough. But instead you did none. Or instead you did very little. Instead you didn't go to the gym at all because you created a lie around, well, I didn't have perfect 90 minutes to go do this thing. So I didn't do anything. That's not the way it works. It's not max effort every day. It's the consistent approach of microdosing it. So doing the 100 push-ups, there's also this cascading effect that happens. That because I did those push-ups, I'm slightly more aware about the food I'm going to eat. I'm slightly more aware about the other actions I take. I've already held a promise to myself that I said I was going to do. I'm already building a little bit of confidence. I'm starting to rewrite the narrative instead of believing I can't change. When the only thing that creates change is my actions from today forward.
So do you think that's a good way for a person to start, is to look at themselves honestly and openly and think your current sense of self, your how out of shape you are, how your relationships are, how your relationships with your parents, loved ones, whoever it is, that is a reflection of how you feel about yourself? And
I think there's a lot of that.
Well,
I think there's a lot of that. I don't think, like I said, I don't think that there's any right, wrong, whatever. But I do think some self-awareness around why I choose what I choose matters. I also don't think that we need to go through and unroot it. I don't think it's worth always having to dive into the past and fucking unbury this thing. The same way, like, there's some high level scientific shit that, like, I can just go, got it. Instead of, like, I don't need to know the full depth of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I want to take from it what gives me action to actually change things. And if I can have awareness of, like, I don't like the way my life works in this area. And at least I can say, what are the habits I've been doing? What would I like my life to look like in the future? What habits more align with a life that looks like that? How do I get more consistent doing those habits every day from here until it changes?
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, how do you know that your actions align with who you are, not what you are, not what others want you to be, but actually who you want to be? Because we please everybody except ourselves. How do we know that that's truly ourselves?
I think that's choosing to be self-aware, choosing to listen. Where's the shit that I do that doesn't make me feel good? Where's the things that steal my energy? Where's the stuff that I dream about doing, but I talk myself out of? Like, I know for me, like, I know what aligns with me, right? Like, I don't want to spend any of my time around people who complain. So I don't.
No.
I want to create for a living. So I will challenge myself forever to do so. And so I set boundaries that keep those things aligned and keep those things active. I don't deal with bullshit that's distractions that I don't need to have. I quit worrying about what anyone else thinks my life should look like, and I decided what I want it to look like. And I didn't know a lot of what I wanted it to look like. I thought it was supposed to look like this, this growing up, having kids, standard life, retirement, and then sometime dying. I saw people living exciting lives, and I saw people being able to travel, and I saw people being able to kind of, I don't know, just fucking go for it.
I mean, did that help from the Highland Games?
Well, that was kind of the first thing that I did that I really fully pursued something unreasonable.
And it takes a real mental fucking set of balls to lift some, like, because when I've thrown cabers and stuff, like, not anything close to what you've done, and some of the stones, you have to really want it. Did that help you find inner inspiration?
So much of that stuff for me, like, my driving force wasn't very much a chip on my shoulder. I'd spent some time dealing with, not quite being good as my brother in a number of areas. And then once we got into strength, it was really just about, like, I want to see what this fucking thing can do. And there were a number of ways to test that against kind of history. And so, like the Husafell stone or any of these other kind of historic stones around the world, I just kind of got fascinated and fully obsessed with it. And as someone that appreciated strength, and at that point in my life, I really considered strength to be my craft. Like, that's what I was really trying to become an expert in. And being able to test myself against those histories was really cool. And so I trained for those things, and I got to fall in love with it. And I got to witness how cool it is that there's these areas on the planet, like the Husafell stone or the Denny stones or the Inver stone, that, like, have a gravity that, like, if you'll simply just hang out there long enough, like a tree, the strongest people on earth come to you. Like, you're a fucking stone.
Yeah.
Why did we attach such big, heavy meaning to this one? We also, as a group of people, will shit on if you have replica ones and be like, it's not the real thing. Like, fucking why? But that's a silly thing, but we do it.
Huh?
It's time for a quick break. There are millions of potential products to buy, so how do you know which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Simple. You go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and explore those that will transform and improve your life. You'll find deals, listener exclusives, and special offers with some great companies. Recommendations are 100% honest, and only on items Ian has tried or believes in. The companies showcased will make you a better man in all areas of your life. Simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and level up.
Is this linked to when you were talking about the idea of play versus training? Like training's for something in the future, it's something that you're focusing on, but play is actually just working out for fun, seeing what your body can do using nature and whatever's about
I think they can overlap.
Yeah.
I think at this point, because I'm not trying to get super specific results out of my body, I'm training so that I can play as much as possible. I don't love pedaling the bike in the gym for 2 hours. I like being able to go outside with my friends and go on an adventure and feel my lungs fucking explode and get way in over my head, and I still manage to scrape it back home.
I think you'd have to be a bloody sadist if you enjoyed 2 hours on the bike. Like, it's just wrong.
Like it's one of those things that I've done it long enough when I train for a thing like training for an endurance thing, just because I want to see, what do I get from doing that? What how much can I improve at endurance sports in a certain amount of time? I think it's a fun thing to figure out. Also, all the side benefits are fucking great. I'll be outside, plus I'm moving extra. I'll probably lose some weight. Side effects are awesome. And so during that pursuit, I found that kind of maintaining about like an hour a day of cardio really kept everything else operating at a higher level. Like my mood was better, my focus was better. Almost as though like I'm a fucking energetic guy. And so I need a little bit of the battery topped off, like gotten rid of, before I start trying to focus. And so I may as well burn it that way. Otherwise, I'll pretend to burn it by wasting time on other shit.
Because you said on Instagram that you find yourself when you seek solace, or like when you go into these quiet moments and by yourself. How do you find that balance between being with people, using the energy of others, and kind of on their missions and helping clients, to your own personal time? Do you use the energy that you gain from teaching them to better yourself as much as you do in your solitude?
Yes. Simple answer is yes. More complicated answer is a lot of what I get out of the solitude gives me more perspective to be able to help my clients. So I, as a leader, need to go into that solitude to make sure that I'm sorted out enough to be able to serve. Right? So the work I've done in the past, while I have the capacity to work a lot, I like working. I have no complaints about being busy. I ain't fucking bored. I got a big giant list of goddamn dreams I'm trying to accomplish before I die. So bored's not my issue.
Yeah.
Focus is. So adding in those, sorry, I got lost a little bit. Bring me back to home. Bring me back to what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, you talked about the hedonic treadmill. Like we spend so much caring about what other stuff is doing. How do we use solitude?
You were asking about solitude. Yeah. So in my previous job of like running the apparel brand, the creative work was done very much in solitude. So I'm typically at my desk, I'm designing, I'm putting together stuff or writing, whatever you're doing in that type of creation, video editing, you're fucking alone. And I would refill to get creative stuff because the opposite side of my scale was empty. Like I wasn't getting any group time, community time, new inspiration because I'm just locked in on the deep work. And so with this job, when I gave it the same approach, I realized like, oh, it's demanding a different system from me because I am working one-on-one and sharing all the time and having to be on the spot, having communication. that I'm pouring out in a very different way. And so the same thing that refilled the old creativity isn't the same thing that refills this drain. So for this drain, what I'm realizing is in places we travel, whenever we get some time to kind of sit and think, try to be aware of how I feel. And what I notice is the vibe that I pick up in cities, I don't like as much as the vibe I pick up in nature. So I listen to that. So I try to purposely go put myself in nature more often if that's a vibe that aligns with me. It has to be a choice. So I build a van. So that way I don't have to sit in my office to do Zoom calls and things like that. I have a van with Starlink. I can go sit in nature and still do all the things I'm responsible for. And so just continuing to listen to that calling of like, oh, I have to now make sure that I'm intentional with intermittent solitude. Because I'm not always going to be able to go macro dose it. I can't always say I need a weekend to go fucking sit by myself.
Yeah.
So in the time that I do have, I use the resources I have and I go find it. I purposely go. Because I can listen to what resonates with me more. And right now it's not sitting in my office. And if I want to do the best work I can do, then I need to listen.
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever thought create, not consume, completely changed how I approached life and what I was doing and how I developed the site. And I couldn't believe how easy everything was once I switched that mentality. I started listening to myself and what I needed in nature, like going out and spending time with walks in nature with the dogs. But when we do connect with people, you seem to have this magical way of just connecting with people and having like true deep connections with people. When you seem to have friendships, they seem to be true brotherhood friendships, and you seem to just connect with your clients like it's you've known them your whole life. What has that taught you about creating deep, true friendships?
I think being clear with your intention is a good one. I personally have no interest in bullshit friendships or relationships. And so there's no room for them. I set that boundary. I have plenty of acquaintances. I'm nice to everyone. That also helps. Like I can choose to not want to spend my energy with you and still be polite.
Yeah. Hopefully not right now, but
Oh, no, right, sure. But you know what I mean? Like, but building relationships, I mean, it's also intentional because the people that I'm close friends with and anything else, they're busy as well. And so I don't take offense to them not calling. I don't take offense to not hearing from people. Instead, if I'm thinking like, damn, I haven't heard from blah, blah, blah in a while. And then I'm like, that sucks. They don't reach out. And then I get into that narrative. What's a lot easier is me just sending a text and saying, hey man, I was thinking about you. I hope all's well. I don't wait for the invite. Like if I want to deal with you and I want to chat with you, I call and talk. I don't take offense to if they can't. They're busy. I'm busy a lot. Right. And so like, I want meaningful relationships. And if that's going to be the case and we're not going to have quantity of conversation, then it has to be quality. I don't want infrequent fucking blandness. And what's the point of us hanging out? Like someone being nice isn't enough for me to want to spend time. Nice is the bare minimum of being an okay person.
definitely.
If you're a dick, it just saves both of us a ton of time.
I love the way that you're looking at this. It makes far more sense than secret sauces and codes, and it's.
I don't have any, man. I wish I fucking did.
Do you think that's the idea of living
the
with
only
absolute
one-
abundance?
It helps, and that's something I've really put on in the last 5 years, that practice. And man, it has changed more than probably any of the other modalities I have done. Is just that practice of gratitude and abundance. And I know that like you hear about that all the time, like write in your journal, talk about gratitude. And there's a difference in writing about it and then feeling it. And I've gotten better at it throughout the years. What did start when I was in my shit place was writing in my journal a couple things that I was I was thankful for. But like I remember reading that somewhere and along the same lines of fuck it, I'll try anything. But at least I know at that point nothing happens in 2 weeks, right? Like so I have that background training under me. I know how long it takes to see results from anything. And so I don't have an opinion on how well something's gone about if I'm pursuing it until like I'm 6 months in. I don't get an opinion yet of whether or not it's working. It takes that long to get anything going. Anything you quit before that, you shot yourself in the foot.
Because I think that's where your radical abundance comes in, is when you love or when you want to feel love from others, you just give it to others. When you want to train something, you throw yourself 100%.
But I give it to me.
Yeah.
I give it to me too. My gratitude and abundance is not just for things I have. It has gone to the depths of thank you for the way that I hear sound waves to hear great things from people. Thank you for the way that I can process light through my fucking eyeballs that lets me see a sunset that I think's beautiful. Like, thanks for all this air there is to breathe. Thanks for the way these lungs work that have never asked any help from me. No. Thanks digestion system. Thanks legs that have carried me on every adventure I've ever been on. Thanks all the other muscles and bones in my body that I can't even name. Do you know how crazy that is? You can't even name all your own parts?
No. And most people wouldn't have a clue. Their worst day is something that somebody in a hospital bed or wheelchair.
That's your choice, though. That's your own choice of perspective. Like, that's living in scarcity. And if you want to stay living in scarcity where you are going to create this prison around, once I get X, I'll feel Y. And because I don't feel Y yet, it means I haven't gotten enough X.
And there's people in hospices desperate to have the advantages that they have right now, or that extra 20 minutes, or to hug their loved ones one last time. And that's what bugs me, is I fall into that trap every so often. Like, I beat myself up enough to get to that point, and I go, whenever I'm having a bad day or fall into my own traits, I immediately jealousy, comparison. And you said on an interview where you said something about
catch it sooner,
right? Where like, you catch bad behaviors.
Yeah, quit trying to stop it. Like, that shit's already attached to the autopilot. So by the time it's kicked on, the trigger's already been hit, and like you're off the wheel. So the only thing that matters is how quickly you can go, oh shit, I'm being an asshole to myself. And that is jealousy. That is the excuse. That is pointing the finger. That's any type of blame that doesn't take accountability. Because if you can take accountability, that gives the power back to you. I'm not interested in anything that takes my fucking power away. And so when you catch yourself making or doing that old habit, that's where I drop back into gratitude as part of that practice and say to myself, thanks for noticing we don't have to waste any more time doing that. Thanks for getting back on track to what we were. Thanks for noticing that we can change. Thanks for choosing to handle this differently. Thanks for not wasting any more time than we would have last time.
No.
Thanks for catching it. Thanks for recalibrating.
So you talk to yourself like a friend.
Down. Fuck yeah.
Because how many people have an inner voice where...
It took a long time to fucking learn. It took a long time to learn that. I don't need any help on that motherfucker that lives in my head that's mean to me.
You wouldn't allow a friend to speak to you the way we speak to ourselves.
I feel differently now. So the truth is, that's one of the boundaries I hold, is I work very hard to not speak to me in a way that I wouldn't be tolerated, that I wouldn't tolerate it. So anytime I catch myself and start that shit, I get back into that abundance around that bad behavior and start rewiring. We don't have to do that anymore. That doesn't serve any purpose. We don't have to flog ourselves. We've already gotten the fucking message.
Well, we've already beaten ourselves up enough, but we keep the problem alive.
Yeah, why? Of course we do. You keep feeding that thing. You're also comfortable doing that. It's more comfortable for you to beat yourself up for 5 days than it actually is to change.
Where is it? You said, so I'm just looking at, I've took some notes. It's not about fixing anything. It's about shedding the old skin and any lingering, limiting beliefs. I love that idea of just you're fine the way you are. You just need to shake off the excess noise just to push yourself. Now you have this beautiful relationship with your partner, and it just seems that you complete each other, that you both inspire, motivate, and you can see just the love that you have for each other through the comments, your social media, just the interactions you have. How, for somebody that's been traditionally single like myself, shall we say, how do we find our own version of that? What advice would you give to people who are seeking somebody to go on this journey now that they've realized time is finite and life is short?
What are the attributes you'd like in a partner?
I've only ever probably been in love once, and that was somebody who just
No.
I don't know
Not
anymore.
about your past. What do you want?
Somebody.
What do you want in a partner? Someone that's ambitious? Do you want someone that's in shape? Do you want someone that takes care of their health? Do you want someone that is intellectual? Do you want someone that is outdoor focused? What do you want? Like what would your ideal partner do? What would their habits be? What would their hobbies be?
Do you know? I probably don't even know, and that's probably why
Well,
I
that's going to
just
be real tough
accept
to
what
attract it.
comes.
Yeah, so that's going to be really, really tough to attract it. I know what I want. I know it doesn't work for me. I tried lots of things. And so when I learn things, I set new boundaries. And I operate from there the best I can. And so if I want a partner that gives a shit about her health, and I want a partner that's physically fit and wants to do active, adventurous things, if I want a partner that is financially independent without me, if I want a partner who is free to travel and do all these things, then I damn sure need to be all those things too.
Yeah. Become what you want to attract.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it's like trying to make money instead of becoming valuable. If you become valuable, you attract money.
Yeah, we chase what we want rather than becoming what we can be to attract the people. Yeah. God, it makes it so much easier when you think about it like that.
That's what I love getting to help people do, is reframe a lot of these perspectives to get out of their own way. It's not necessarily this big 180-degree swing. It's being able to realize that you're in control to see that your side. You can choose the side of abundance that already exists, and the ability to be in control and the ability to follow through and take actions, or you can keep believing the narrative of I can't change. Either's totally fucking up to you.
No.
And I don't believe there's a right or wrong. It's just like if you want to spend your whole life watching movies and melting into the couch and weighing 700 pounds and eating fast food every day, I don't care. My question is, are you happy? And if you say, I don't ever question anything I do and I'm pretty stoked all the time, then fucking ride on, man. Ride on. I am not here to tell you right or wrong. But you can't bitch about it and not do something about it. You're not allowed to have both ways. That's like a child. So either accept it and be cool with it or change it. Right? So like, I am not going to be able to have the discipline to have like bullshit food in my house all the time. I know where my weak spots are. They're not going away. I've tried various ways to manage it, so now I strategize against it. I don't have bullshit in my house.
Makes a lot of sense.
I know where my limit of going out to get bullshit will happen. And I won't leave the house to go get it once I decide I want ice cream or something like that. But if ice cream is in the house, I will eat it.
Yeah. Well, you can't eat it if you don't have it. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've done some amazing sort of transformational stuff. You've journeyed around the world. You've met amazing people. Which ones truly worked? Because I think you talked a lot about your experience using some herbal medicines. Where you really tackled yourself. Was that the main one that kind of got to down to your bones for transformational change, or were there others that kind of helped different methods?
It's all. It's a combination of all. It's just kind of widening the toolbox. I think everything does different things. I think everything gives a different perspective, and I think there's stuff to learn from any modality. I don't think anything also has to be done forever or all the time. I think at some point you can kind of get the lesson from different things. Plant medicine for me has been really valuable. And in various forms, whether psilocybin, cannabis, or other psychedelics, mushrooms, LSD, or anything else, I think they're great tools. I also don't have addiction issues, at least not in the area of chemical dependency. And so if that's not a weak point for me, then I can kind of dabble to see what performance enhancement happens. Because I do believe they're valuable tools, especially if what we're seeing in healing and any of these other type of things. Because I can't put my finger on anything that helps people at their lowest and then hurts people who are healthy.
So if you had, how normally you get a question like, if you could go back 10 years and speak to yourself then, but what would you actually do? Would you change anything? Or do you think the journey you've been on has been the right journey for you, and everything you've done, you had to have the heart rate machine. If it's not up and downs, it's a flat line and you're dead. Do you think we need to look at the lows to understand our past to get a better future?
Totally. I think there always needs to be data analyzation. I mean, I analyze data with the rearview mirror, and then I focus my efforts forward. I'm not trying to rewrite the past. I can't change any of it. But being at the point I'm at in my life right now, I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Love it.
Across the board. And what I also believe about timelines and the infinite and kind of chaos theory is that, if a butterfly flaps its wings, somewhere else a tsunami happens. It's this idea that if one small change happens, like there is this wave of repercussions that are unknown. You can't pick and choose. You can't go in and edit one small thing. And so for me to get exactly where I am right now, I need all those things to happen. Those are the dragons that have to be slain to get to the happiness I have now. I do have to battle through not good enough and realize what a fucking lie it is to have it. Otherwise you don't learn the lessons. You just think you got the merit badge. And having the merit badge that says I should be happy, like I ain't fucking being happy.
No.
And so over the course of that long term, like the only thing I tell that guy is thank you. Like, I don't know why you're the one forging into the fucking unknown in the dark and trying all these new things out of somewhat desperation and fear. Because if I don't solve the problem, I know what life looks like, and I don't want any part of it. And so why he tried, I don't know why he was in love with it. I don't know. I get to process a lot of those things and try to put my perspective on them. I get to live in all the benefit of that guy's decisions. I just got to say thank you. In the same way that I hope right now I'm at that moment of making small decisions every day that 50-year-old me is going to say, I don't know why you were going because you didn't have any idea this great shit was coming. I'm trying to do that guy favors, man.
I mean, if I'd said to myself 10, 20 years ago, I'd have gone, I didn't think I'd be here. I thought I'd be just like, nah, fuck this. I'm a black sheep. Can't get on with anybody.
So using that own evidence with yourself, right? I didn't think I'd be here. What full effort did you think you've given it? I got a 1 out of 10.
Honestly, now I used to think it'd be higher, but 4 or 5. I know I can much more
think
capable.
About like an 8, man.
No, that's a good point.
I was just bumping it up 2. Like, fuck, man, a 4, 2 is 50% better.
A version of me
doesn't exist. Do you like 10's not fucking real?
No.
There's always up. There's some asshole out there with $1 trillion who wonders why he doesn't own a planet. Like, you're caught in the wrong fucking game. Knowing that I can be happy with very little makes the game really fun to play.
And I think that's what I've realized is there is so little that I need to be happy. I just need family. I just need to go and do stuff. The things I enjoy now are not the going to the festivals. They're not going to, it's the people I'm with, the experience. Do you find that's now the new version of you? It's the
100.
what?
Yeah, 100%. It's all experience based, but that's what it always has been. Like, I mean, no one gets into the Highland Games because there's going to be cool accolades. I found a thing that allowed me to travel around the world. If I could also be good at it, that'd be sick. If also they'll pay me money, I'll try that too.
Yeah.
But I want to travel around the world with my friends. And so there's always a way. There's always a way to figure it out. Are you familiar with the book called The Third Door?
It rings a bell, but not off the top of my head.
And so high performers, there's this mindset, and you can find it over and over and over again in them. And there's different levels of it, of course, right? Like it's full spectrum of anything. But there's this idea of the third door. And man, if you watch like Kid Cudi's documentary or any number of sports athletes documentaries or anything, right? And so the idea is that most people believe success lives in this big building, like this nightclub, and they're doing all the right things. And now they're standing in line waiting for the bouncer in queue to let him in. He's got a list of who gets in next, and you've done all the things, and you're just waiting to be called up. We all know there's a back door where rich people and those who get to bypass the normal process just get to walk in the fucking building. They're always going to be there. The difference in high performers is that they are aware there's a third door. There is a way to get a job working in the fucking building so that you're in the room. There is a way to tip off a waiter to get in through a back door and come in through the kitchen. There is a way to make friends with a DJ who plays that place once a week so that you can get in the room. They will figure it the fuck out. They're not waiting for permission. Ever. I'm okay with the consequences. But I'm not sitting out here waiting and giving my power away as though you get to decide my success or happiness.
So what other books or sort of philosophies or readings have had like an impact like that with you? You know, the ones that you immediately think of when somebody says, what's a good book to read or what's a motivational tool, or is there anything that springs to mind?
Yeah, I really, really like Jay Shetty's Think Like a Monk. And so, again, a lot of the growth tends to happen in shadow, right? And so, let's say this previous life when I was competing and being a world champion, and this will kind of help to why my books are what they are. I came from an athletic background and pursuing strength and then outside sales. Like I'm personable and can talk, and I'm a big guy and in good shape and have been since I was fucking 17. So like the typical masculine traits, I don't have any issue with. So like, I don't need the Jocko Willink, David Goggins thing. Like, so when I hear that type of approach to motivation, all I hear is the same high school coaches that have been yelling in my fucking head for 20 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I also do well in those environments. So like, I got the fucking message, man. I don't need you yelling. So where I struggle in my shadow is in the finding the gratitude, and is in the abundance, and is in the not being so shitty to myself, and it is being self-worth, and it is self-love. So I leaned into learning as much about that to balance the other. Because that side of expectations and living up to this idea and what a man looks like and what that blah, 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 blah started to get in the way of where when shit was failing, I couldn't address it because then I would have to admit it's not one of those things. Instead of just being able to fucking deal with it and move on and realize none of this shit's important anyway. And so I went more for the softer things. Like, so I started reading stuff with Ram Dass and more plant medicine, being around some more hippie friends and things like that, and spending more time in the sun, listening to all this other type of shit, getting into crystals and gratitude. And I have beads on and I do breath work and meditation. I don't have a problem with pursuit. My problem is slowing down. And because I don't know how to slow down, I burn out. And so I look at that other side of me, this high performance side that gets a lot done. That's this big giant race car that, with building endurance and learning new skills and having creative ideas and being able to follow through, like that's this big high fucking end race car that's trying to go 200 miles an hour. But if I don't learn the brakes, I'll crash and I'll keep crashing.
Well, how
So
do
learning
you
how to
strike that balance between, confidence and humility, calmness and intensity? How do you stop and calm down and apply these breaks?
Well, it's knowing when the tools needed to be used. If everything's a fucking nail, then all you got's a hammer. And so I did that for a really long time. And basically every single aspect of my life was I just treated everything as a nail. That'll get us to good enough. Even if it gets to what other people consider great, you're always in the fight. You've never surrendered. You've never just been in the process of enjoying whatever this flow of life is, that what comes with pursuing greatness and being stoked on it. Because you're always not there. And that feeling's brutal. That's that living in the gap. That's the scarcity. And I just don't believe that's true. Like, food, water, and shelter are taken care of. I will likely not struggle with those things for the rest of my life. Community, friends, those things are going to change on a semi-regular basis just because life changes.
Yeah.
All the evidence in my past says things last somewhere between 10 and 25 years. So, like, right on. I can probably accept that that's going to be that, so I can learn, adapt, and make new friends whenever I feel the call to be different. And if I want to pursue something else, then all right, let's go find new people. But giving myself the freedom to change, I have no fucking idea what 50-year-old me wants. But I know that if he's physically fit, he's confident, he's financially stable, and believes in himself and works really fucking hard, he can probably do just fine at just about anything he wants to focus on.
This is why I'm so glad to be speaking to you, because it generally does feel like 10 minutes. And I think we're about the same age, and I'm sitting just now at the start of my journey now. The start, it's, what's it they say? You die twice. Once is when you realize you're not going to live forever and you change your ways. And the second time is obviously when you die. But how?
I think there's lots of deaths. The death of my father, the death of sport, the death of my last identity, the death of my old marriage, the death of parts of me that I thought were important for a really long time. Things that I thought mattered.
Shedding that old skin.
Yeah. Like, how long did I think having a 400-pound bench mattered? Like it was an important thing. It's an interesting pursuit. It's not fucking important. And like, once, it's not like there's some group that's going to come out and get me once I don't have it. Or like somehow it would make me a fraud, or whatever the fucking crazy narrative that we'll build in our head is around it.
Yeah.
So for me, back to your other question about what I'm reading, it's a lot of Alan Watts. It is, I like Nietzsche stuff with nihilism. I tend to fall more those directions than I do Stoicism, but everyone's saying the same shit. It's all the exact same shit. It's all self-awareness, and it's being less reactionary. It's being able to feel all your feelings, but not have to let them take control of the car. Like, I want to be able to feel angry, but I don't need to be aggressive. Angry lets me know somebody crossed my goddamn boundaries. Or something did. Or I did. And so take fucking awareness and then correct course by either saying, that motherfucker crosses boundaries. We don't ever need to fuck with them again. Or, what mistake did I make to put me in contact with this motherfucker that's going to cross boundaries? How do I not do that again? I got no interest in wasting time explaining to them that they crossed boundaries. So letting go of any of those attachments that are causing suffering. This attachment to how this interaction should have gone, or the attachment to being right. I don't give a fuck if a moron thinks I'm right. I will happily just end the conversation. They're welcome to think about me whatever they would like. In fact, I will happily just say, I agree with you. Or just say, right on.
Like those who spend their lives arguing on social media. Like,
don't give a fuck. It's a trap.
What's it to say about it's like playing chess with a pigeon? It'll just knock all the things over and claim it's won.
It's a trap, though. But like also then, like by arguing, you get better at arguing. Like it sharpens. Your tongue gets quicker and you get wittier and any number of other things. But like you're also then looking for fights. So like how much of your energy is then getting spent creating a tool that has a fucking negative consequence in every aspect of your life?
Very true. How much of life energy we're wasting on shit
I
that
don't
doesn't
give
matter.
a shit about trying to be right. I don't give it. I am not arguing a fucking preference with you.
So for those
if you like X and I like Y, that sounds great to me.
like, well, no one likes X at the minute. I think it's just such a buggy app. Like, but
oh fuck yeah.
But for those listening, I mean, what would you want them to do? Like, say they were new clients after coming to this, and they said, "Fuck, man, I need to have a better life. I need to. I realized I'm not dead yet, but I need to start pushing myself." What would you give them as homework? Say if they came back to you in 6 months and said, "Fuck, I listened to your interview. You know, Matt was right. He tore a new asshole, got me motivated." What would you want them to come back? If there's like short-term goals they could focus on?
For sure there is. I mean, one would be establishing these different habits. I also think about doing them first thing in the morning so that you prioritize you. So you have less excuses so that you always get it done. Maybe recognize the pattern that if I tell myself I'll do it in the evening, like I won't. And so what I would do is the transformation guide that I've put together, 90-Day Alchemist, I'd run that. It's a $300 course. You get some other courses with it. You get some support in our community. Run that. And that's about putting in these daily habits that really do make these differences of being outside or spending time doing some breath work, writing in the journal, hot and cold, using some hot and cold exposure, putting in an hour of physical movement, managing the diet really simply. Like, how about for the next 90 days, don't eat anything that you can't identify as a single ingredient. I don't care how much, but that's the rule. Like, it's really simple. And the options for food are a lot.
Yeah.
It's being willing to put these habits in. How about go get out of your comfort zone once a week and go take a class or something like that you normally wouldn't? And all these habits, while seeming trivial, like add up over the 90 days of getting rid of a lot of the narrative of I'll be judged, or I'll be this, or this feels stupid, or how this goes, or I don't have enough time. No bullshit. And so this program helps rewire that. Helps transform that mind, body, and spirit all at the same time. And these slow daily habits. That's the only thing that makes a difference. Everyone wants this fucking macro dose of change, and it doesn't exist. You have to do it long term. You have to rewire the program. And so I do 90-Day Alchemist, and then I would read the 4 Agreements. I would read The Gap and the Gain. And I would read Comfort Crisis. Possibly Atomic Habits. Those are a good 4-starter. Like if you would actually follow that program for 90 days and read those 4 books and not just consume them to say fucking I consumed them. Take notes. What makes sense? What are aha moments? Because if you don't integrate the information, it doesn't fucking matter. So figure out what's the thing to take away. and then actually do it? How do you implement it? How do you put that as part of your habits?
So how
And then
do you do that?
Well, it depends on the book.
So say if it's, I don't know, like Atomic Habits, for example. What would you do? Like when you're writing it, are you literally saying, writing out what's said, what it made you feel, how
Yeah,
you
like
did?
so if I'm reading a book, like what I'm listening for or any time that like I feel seen, especially if what I'm reading is personal development, self-help, strategizing, performance enhancement, whatever that area is, like anywhere that I go bing and get that tickle and you go, "Oh, that's something." Then I typically write in my journal about it until I get a comprehensive idea of what the fuck that was that I just recognized. What clicked, what made sense. And so, him talking about, atomic habit being at this really minute scale and how it's the tiny habits that make any difference, right? That if you are on a trajectory based on the current habits and consistency that you have, and that is this laser pointing 10 miles into the future from where you currently stand. Like, I don't need you to move 180 degrees. I just need you to move 1 degree and look at where difference that points downrange. Just turn 1 degree and walk in a straight line from there. You're way different place.
Yeah.
Like it's the accumulation of the work that happens, right? And so like, what are the habits I want to change? What are the habits I want to get rid of? So let's say it's nicotine, porn, fucking any type of self-destructive dessert. Right? Like, so whatever the self-destructive habit could be, scrolling, any of these number of things, it needlessly wasting my fucking time. I put them on my board so that I can pay attention to it and then I track it. But clearly, subconsciously, I won't give a shit. That's why we're here. If I noticed it, I would have already done something about it. But clearly I can't. So now I've got to fucking put my sights on it until I get a handle on it.
Is that why on your whiteboard you had evidence of progress and you took the sticky notes off and you put it on there so you could look back and reflect on it?
Well, I don't necessarily look at any of those individually. The evidence of progress is just this notice that if I just always throw them away, anytime I finish something, anytime I make progress, any little action I do that is in alignment with who I want to become, it goes over there because it's easy to get caught up in the moment and say, we're not fucking getting anything done.
Yeah.
It's easy to get into that narrative. And then instead, like, bullshit. You know that's not true. Look at that fucking pile of evidence. And sure, you can fall into the gap and get back into scarcity and say, well, it should be further. Based on what? The evidence is doing that has got us here. So do more.
Yeah.
But the truth is doing that got us here. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not should have. It's not should have been. It could have been worse. It could have been. Doesn't matter. The actions you took, the habits you've had, combined with whatever unique life experience that you went through on your journey has got you here. Is that where you would like to be?
That'll probably have just changed a shitload of people's minds just now. Like, they'll be like, no, I'm not happy. And I think that's the beauty of it, that you're the living, breathing proof that you can change no matter how low you are to become the man you want to be. And I think that's why you've been so successful, is you literally have lived the life. You've gone the peaks to the highs. And it's been an honor to speak to you. I would love to do another one and go into deep dives and things, but I know I've used up so much of your time. I cannot thank you enough for coming on. But what would you want people to take from this? Because I'm trying not to go down rabbit holes because there's just so many amazing things you do. But
I appreciate it. The life in front of you is so much more important than life behind you. Who you've been doesn't have anything to do with who you can be. It's about choosing to wipe the slate, taking control, and actually managing the very, very few things that you're really in control of. What you choose to consume, what you choose to do, what you choose to say, how you follow through, and your reactions to your feelings. Your feelings are not necessarily important. They seem to always be flowing. They don't also seem to be flowing some days in any regulation to what the world is telling me. Some days are just shitty. And if I wait on those to be motivated to get things done, I won't get anything done. I know that they change, and I know they're not always have anything to do with anything. And so with self-awareness, it's being able to move yourself out of that flow of feelings and realize that it's not you, but that flow is always coming through. And you can choose to ride on any of those that come, but they're all going to change and eventually pass. You haven't had a single feeling that's ever lasted forever. They all change on different intervals. So don't give up on the things that make you excited whenever you feel good just because you feel down. Instead, take actions that make you feel how you want to feel instead of waiting to feel away. I trust in my ability to take action. And when I do that, I feel good more of the time because I don't have to worry about that wasted amount of RAM in my head constantly running through the where I've let myself down anymore.
No.
Because I don't.
That's truly amazing. It really makes sense. And it's like I needed that right now. It's like, even though I'm riding highs, I'm
You're the
like...
same age as me, man. Yeah, look, my ideal client looks like you. Is at that point where they've tried a number of things, have found some success, but for whatever reason can't get it to copy over to these other areas. And clearly whatever they believe ain't right. Let's try something else.
Well, until I can get you back on, I mean, I'd love to do like into different areas and stuff, but how can then we work with you? How can we follow the journey? How can we sign up, buy the products? How can we follow along this journey you're on?
On Instagram, easiest place is probably Not Dead Yet Life. Not Dead Yet _life is kind of the coaching page where everything is, where we have our retreats and everything else. Anybody listening here that's interested in working with me, shoot me an email, matt@mattvincent.net, and I'll answer. Or shoot me a DM on Instagram at Matthew P. Vincent or the.mattvincent. Some of those are just different pages, more focused on one aspect of my life than the other. But it's all me. And what I have found is living authentically and pursuing the things that I'm absolutely in love with seems to resonate with the world around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to help other people find their version of that and give themselves permission and have enough trust and be able to deal with the days that shit doesn't work out so that you can get it.
Well, that's it for another week, and thank you for listening. It's now time to take what you've learned and use it to develop and enhance your life with the key points mentioned. Listen, try it, embrace it, use it, and crush it. Now's your time to hit that next level in your life. If you liked this episode, then please leave a comment on the show notes or a review of the show on your podcast platform. Everything helps evolve the show. Until next week, keep seeking the next level in your life.